There's been so much propaganda recently in the personal style community around how shopping isn't personal style and how you can't shop your way to your best personal style, things like that. And while I do agree with this to a large extent, I also feel like there's this huge kind of really important chunk that's missing from the conversation, and that is the fact that unless you buy and try and fail and succeed, you're never going to find your personal style. The times that I've learned the most about my personal style have been the times that I have been kind of more heavily shopping, that I have bought more, that I have experimented more, that I've tried more. And it's only through that process of elimination, of trying things out, that you're actually going to get anywhere with your style. The time that I have been the most stagnant in my style has been when I've been too afraid to spend any money on myself, too afraid to buy anything new for myself, not having enough key items or items that really even suited me. That has been an incredibly frustrating part of my journey where I didn't feel like I could afford my style. I didn't feel like I could spend money on myself. And there's so many traps around that whole area that I feel like I just really wanted to dive into today and talk with you guys about. Really, the role that shopping actually does play in, creating our own personal style, because you're never going to get your personal style without actually buying some sort of clothes for yourself. You know what I mean? So it's about being intentional, of course. We never want to be just throwing money at our wardrobe and then never getting anywhere, never wearing the clothes that we're buying. And yeah, so today's video might be a little bit more of a chatty one. Strap yourselves in. I hope you're along for the ride with me. I feel like we haven't really done a super chatty video in a while, and yeah, I miss you, so let's talk. So, firstly, I think there are a good chunk of women who do tend to overspend on their wardrobe. And I think a lot of the videos around personal style and why shopping does not equal personal style are geared towards women who tend to be more on the overspending end of the spectrum. And so I just sort of wanted to bring in that caveat that this video is dedicated to the rest of us. Everyone who tends to be more reluctant to spend money on yourself, like more of an underspender than an overspender, taking a lot of time to make decisions for your wardrobe, feeling like really cautious and conscientious about spending, whether that's about spending money on yourself in general or prioritizing your wardrobe, or maybe you're just not 100% sure what your style even is. And so there's that hesitancy to waste lots of money on items that might not even suit you, that might not even relate to your personal style. So we're going to break down a few of these things today because it's my personal belief that you really can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. Like, there's going to be flops, there's going to be failures, and the only way to find out what's truly your personal style and what's going to work for you in your lifestyle is actually just by going out there and trying things and being open to them, yes, failing, but then also being open to them succeeding as well. So basically, we're on the opposite end of the spectrum to the overspenders. We tend to lean more cautious and more underspendy in our habits. And so these are some of the traps that we can fall into and how we can start to work with some of these limiting beliefs so that we can actually achieve our personal style, feel confident in our personal style, and start to feel a little bit more comfy with like actually spending money on ourselves and actually prioritizing ourselves. I have done another video similar to this about how and why you should prioritize spending money on yourself and your wardrobe, and I'll link that in the cards in case you wanted to watch that when you're done watching this one. So trap number one, which I see a lot, is saving our best clothes for occasions, saving them for best. They sort of languish in our wardrobe, gathering dust, and they never get worn, even though they're so beautiful, even though we love them so much, even though we feel our best in these clothes. They tend to just sit there and we feel like, oh, today's just not quite special enough to wear that jacket, like And so the way to get out of this trap is actually pretty uncomfortable. It's actually by treating every day as a special occasion. Because honestly, like, it might seem morbid, but nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. Nobody is guaranteed a long life. You never know what's going to happen in your life. Every single day that you're alive on this planet is a gift. And once you start really taking your life seriously and taking your time here seriously, you kind of start to let all of those fears fall away, as far as like, oh, I couldn't possibly wear the shoes, you know, like I'm just living my casual life. You sort of start to see your life more as a special occasion, more as a reason to celebrate. The reason to wear the shoes is because you are alive today. There doesn't need to be any bigger or better reason than that. Nobody is going to be able to make this switch for you. It's really uncomfortable, but it has to come from you. You have to be the one who decides, okay, I'm actually taking my life seriously. I'm actually going to decide that I deserve to wear my best clothes every day. Every day is a celebration. Every day that I'm alive is a special occasion. And then when you kind of make that switch in your mind, it becomes a little bit easier. Yes, your heart will still flutter when you're wearing your, you're in the supermarket and you're wearing your best heels or whatever. But there's like this switch that happens in your mind once you start taking your life seriously and sort of treating it like, the specialness that it actually is. And it sort of gives you that permission to actually wear your nice clothes, to actually just get dressed or dress up on a daily basis for no other reason than the fact that you're alive. Whether you're a super casual person, whether you have a super casual lifestyle, whether you feel like, who am I to be wearing my best clothes? The only way to break through that barrier is to actually just go and wear your best pieces. I'm currently doing a 100 days of getting dressed challenge. I've been putting it up on my YouTube shorts. I'll be putting them on my Instagram as well if I think about it. I'm pretty bad at Instagram. I tend to stay away from social media for the most part because I feel like it just takes too much of my time and my energy. For some reason, YouTube, I don't feel like it takes that much energy and time from me, but for some reason Instagram is like this like black hole that sucks me in. But anyway, that's a side note. I'll try and get my YouTube shorts versions uploaded to Instagram as well so that people can watch them if they prefer that platform. Anyway, I encourage you to dive in, make yourself a challenge. Say, okay, I'm going to wear my nice clothes for the next month. I'm going to choose something nice that I want to wear every single day, whether it's even just like, I have this lovely pair of gold earrings. I'm going to wear them with every outfit. Or, there's something that's been eyeing me up from my wardrobe. I really want to wear it. I will find a reason to wear that. Tomorrow, today, this week, I'm going to find and create an excuse to wear my best pieces. Because the only way you're ever really going to feel comfortable wearing them is by actually wearing them. So if we're constantly waiting for a special occasion, like what if the special occasion never comes, What if the wedding invite never comes? What if that dress just stays in your wardrobe for years and years and never gets worn? That's such a shame, Obviously, using your discernment, we're not going to be probably wearing our ball gowns out to do our supermarket shopping, but there are many items that live in our wardrobe that are actually pretty serviceable and pretty practical to wear for our everyday, and we just don't tend to because we're saving them. So yeah, let me know if there's something in your wardrobe. If you accept the challenge, let me know what that item is or what those items are. I'd love to know how you want to style them. And I'm going to be starting an online community so that we can be like sharing all our outfit photos with each other. I might do it on Reddit maybe, or something like that, so that if you want to and if you feel called to share, because I get so many comments from you guys being like, oh, I bought this pair of boots or I bought this jacket. And I'm like, oh, I'd really love to see. So yeah, I'm going to start an online community so that we can start, sharing our hauls, sharing pictures of our outfits and stuff, and just encouraging each other to wear our best clothes. And I think it could be fun. So stay tuned for that. Okay, let's go into trap number 2. Okay, trap number 2 is kind of closely linked to trap number 1, where it's not exactly saving our best clothes for the best occasions, but it's like not having the confidence to wear the clothes that we actually love and that we actually want to wear. Kind of having this idea that we need to blend in or we need to casual down our outfits, or like we don't want to stand out too much. We don't want to be seen as ostentatious or overly stylish. We don't want to attract comments or even compliments. Can feel like you kind of like want to defend yourself, like receiving a compliment can sometimes feel like an attack, like, oh no, not me. Like, you can't internalize the compliment. You can't just say thank you. It has to be like, oh my God, no, it only costs this much, or I got it at the thrift shop, or like, oh, I have this old thing, I've had it for years, or whatever. I don't know why as women we tend to do that so much, like deflecting compliments and being so unable to receive a compliment. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, saving items that we want to wear, or like just not having the courage and the confidence to wear the clothes that we love, and sort of like playing down our style in a way, rather than just wearing the pieces that we love, even though they might take a little bit more of a push, a little bit more confidence to get out there and wear them. There is so much practice that goes into this, honestly, because there's no one else who's going to be able to walk through that discomfort for you. Again, it's just like you have to rip off the band-aid. You have to just decide that like enough is enough. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be terrified and do it anyway. The confidence comes from feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's not like, oh, I suddenly became a confident person overnight and now I wear what I want. It's more like the other way around, where you push yourself really uncomfortably to wear the things that you actually want to wear. And then the confidence comes when you realize the world didn't end. I wore my heels and like, actually it was okay. Maybe I got some looks, maybe I got some comments, maybe I got some compliments, and you sort of build into that confidence over time. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes. But the only way out is through. The only way to get to the confidence is by being terrified and wearing it anyway. I think for a lot of us, when we get dressed, even just the idea of what are people going to think? What is someone else going to think of this outfit? It can be kind of paralyzing, it can be debilitating, and it can cause us to make decisions that sort of water down our style because we're just not quite sure how other people are going to receive us. And yeah, it just comes back to confronting the fear head on, and the only way to really bust through that wall is by actually just going out and finding out what people are going to think, what people are going to say. And the thing is that people usually will meet you where you're at. Like if you're showing up to the supermarket in your heels, people are just going to perceive you as that girl. They're going to be like, oh yeah, there's that girl who goes to the supermarket in her heels, They're not going to think, wow, she's reaching. They're going to think, she's out in her heels, she's confident enough to be out in her heels or whatever, I feel like a lot of the time, especially when you're getting used to it, like the first few times that you try something like this can be very uncomfortable. But, like I said, it's sort of like a muscle that you build at the gym. It's like the more that you do it, the easier that it gets. And yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of courage. I'm not going to lie. It takes courage. It takes bravery. But what's landing and what's like waiting for you at the other side of that is so much more than you could even imagine. It's so much more confidence. It's so much more understanding of who you are as a person, and how you want to show up in the world and how you want to be perceived. And it's just a really cool little social experiment to do, to figure out like, who are you and who can you become through just making a little bit of a braver style choice. Okay, the next trap that we get into is sort of underestimating the power of play, and just thinking, okay, well, I've bought this new pair of jeans or whatever. It's just going to seamlessly fit into my wardrobe and I'm going to know how to style it, and, everything's just going to be hunky-dory. Just because something comes into your wardrobe does not mean that you're automatically going to, like, it's just going to slip into the routine effortlessly. It does take a little bit of conscious effort, a little bit of fun and play to kind of incorporate it over time into your outfits, into your lifestyle. And I think the way that we can kind of do this a little bit quicker is by, when we like bring something new in, to actually actively then say, for example, if it's a pair of jeans, okay? you're going to style it with 3 different pairs of shoes, style it with 3 different tops. Think about like, what are your go-to jackets? Are they going to work with this pair of jeans? And literally actually go into your wardrobe and put these things onto your body. Yes, you can imagine them in your mind and kind of think, okay, that would probably go together. That would probably go together. I know a lot of people use like the Index app, for example. Also very good for like kind of visualizing and having, you know, if you have one of those visual brains. But if you don't have a visual brain where you can like imagine exactly perfectly how it's going to go onto your body, then you're going to have to pull those pieces out of your wardrobe and actually try them on. So sometimes it's like expectations versus reality, where it looks good as a Pinterest board, but then whenever it goes onto your body as an actual outfit, it kind of just doesn't really hit that same way. So again, practice makes perfect, like just with the confidence. Play, like think of it as play, think of it as fun. This is not a chore. This is not like another thing on your to-do list. This is fun. This is the way that you bring your style to life, is by actually appreciating what you have and finding those ways to make it work really well with all of the other pieces in your wardrobe. Finding the pieces that it plays with best, finding the situations that it plays with best, thinking about, am I going to be wearing this to a garden party, to a barbecue, to a kid's birthday party? Can I wear this out shopping? Am I going to be wearing this on my days off when I'm at home cleaning? What are the seasons that I'm going to be wearing this for? How am I styling it in spring? How am I styling it in summer? How am I styling it in winter? Asking yourself as many questions and playing with as many different probabilities, possibilities as you possibly can. This is what allows your wardrobe to be hyper functional, and it allows you to sort of know your style inside and out. And then whenever new pieces come in, it's the perfect way to integrate them and to understand how they fit into your personal style. How are you going to be wearing them? Whether you're actually going to be wearing them, and how it just sort of sings and fits with everything else that's already in your wardrobe. I found this a little bit difficult at the beginning of my journey. It's becoming a little bit more easy now that I have more items to choose from. But knowing the pieces that you're bringing in, and like obviously bringing them in strategically, sometimes it also will highlight wardrobe gaps that you have. And like, I love this pair of jeans. Maybe it doesn't work with everything in your wardrobe right now, but maybe what it needs to work is like the perfect pair of trainers, the perfect pair of boots, you know, something like that. And that doesn't mean that this is a wrong piece for you. It might just be that you're at that stage of wardrobe building where you still just need to acquire some pieces. And that takes some time and that takes some effort, and it does take some patience. And I think sometimes it's just easy to get disheartened when we bring something new in and we're like, oh, it's not as versatile as I expected in my wardrobe. Sometimes it's because you just simply don't have enough like wardrobe choices. You haven't reached that stage of wardrobe building and like understanding of your personal style to where, you know, you have enough things for it to work with. So take that as you will, with a pinch of salt. Of course, because I know I'm speaking to my underspenders here, I'm speaking to my girlies who are more likely to not buy something than to buy something. Just take it from me that like, sometimes you just need to have things and hold on to them and just let the other items come in their own time. The more items that you have to choose from, you'll have way more information and way more data as far as like, okay, can this pair with a range of different things that I already like to wear? Or like, is this something that is just like sticking out like a sore thumb in my wardrobe? And it's a little bit harder to tell when you're at the start of the journey versus when you've already spent some time like building up your wardrobe, building up your choices, and really getting to know yourself really well. Before I move on from this point, what I really wanted to also say is that something that has helped me so much with my personal style has been obviously being on YouTube and forcing myself every single week to be playing with my clothes, be making outfits, but also to be actually documenting those outfits, to be looking at myself on camera. And it's really helpful to actually have a camera that's at a distance and taking a full outfit photo of you. But obviously, like a quick phone selfie in the mirror will also work almost the same way. Anyway, play with your outfits and then take photos if you can, because sometimes it's easy to just forget, like, oh shoot, that was such a good outfit and now I can't remember what exactly it was. Or you feel like it's good and then you look back at it in a week and you're like, oh my God, maybe that's not exactly my best look, you know? So yeah, having the photo evidence can be so helpful. And then it feels like your playtime isn't wasted because you just have those photos to remember what worked, what didn't work, etc., etc. Right, another thing that I've mentioned before is like getting used to more quality stores, like getting used to like browsing more expensive places, getting used to walking into more expensive shops, especially if you're just like a chronic thrift store person, a chronic H&M or like fast fashion person. It can be really tricky to kind of set your sights on more quality pieces, on higher priced items, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, like wrapping your mind around spending more money on your clothes, buying more quality pieces, you know, like almost investing in yourself and your appearance in your clothes. And I know that that's like a little bit of a contentious thing because not everybody believes in like clothing as an investment. Everybody's going to sit somewhere slightly differently on that spectrum. Like technically your clothes are going to depreciate in value, however the value that they add to your personal life, to your confidence, to how you present yourself to the world, it's just invaluable. So you know, it's give and take there. It can be something quite surprising to get used to, but it's so worth it to start to see yourself as more of a person who, say for example, like I shop at Cezanne now. It's not always about spending more money necessarily, but it is about just knowing what quality is, what quality feels like, and like what are your values as far as quality and your clothes and the things that you're putting on your body. We don't always have to be spending like XY amounts of money, but just knowing like what is out there and being comfortable moving in those spaces, exposing yourself to quality pieces. It just sort of starts to reset your mind around who you are, what you're worth, and what your personal value is, like how you value yourself, the things that you are allowed to have and that you allow yourself to have in your life as well. For example, something I always recommend is just knowing what quality looks like and then knowing how to make it work for your budget. If you take like Everlane, for example, sometimes their prices can be, you know, kind of mid-range and like quite up there really. I've done some reviews on Everlane in the past. They can be kind of hit and miss, but for their good pieces, the quality is there and I think the price is worth it. However, I do always recommend shopping Everlane on sale. They do really good sales, and the problem with their sales is that if you don't already know what pieces you want to buy, what colors are perfect, what your perfect size is in a specific item, it can be a little bit tricky because it's like, okay, it's final sale, I can't return it. My hack for that is more so to be aware of what they have, what pieces you like, try them on when they're full price, and wait for them to go on sale. Especially if you're living somewhere that like has free returns for something, I always recommend just get yourself familiar with the stock of that store, but then just don't be in a rush to purchase it at full price. You can always wait for it to go on sale, and sometimes things get discounted like 60%. That is a huge saving, especially for the perfect item that you know you like the color, you know you like the fit, you know exactly how it works for your body, and then you just wait for it to go perfectly on sale. But by the time that it goes on sale, you already know what color you want, what size you want. And so then it makes it a little bit more intelligent, like shopping the sales a little bit smarter, so that you're not just like flying blind. You wait for the sales and then you go searching for the perfect color, then you go searching for the perfect shape. If you're already kind of like preloaded and waiting for the sale, just makes it so much easier. The same can be kind of said if you're like obviously looking for it on the secondhand market. Go into a shop, try it on. Maybe it's even a handbag. You find your perfect handbag, you try it out, you like the shape, you like the color, you like how, you know, the leather moves on it or whatever. But then you don't necessarily have to buy it full price from the shop. You can wait for the Black Friday sales. You can wait for it to come up secondhand on the secondhand market. I think the biggest lesson here is that you do have to bide your time and wait for things to come on sale. But if you're more in the underspender category, you probably don't have as much of a problem with like impulse shopping, impulse spending. So you're probably a little bit more used to just sitting, waiting, watching. And I think that is one of the biggest skills that you can have, that you can hone when you're like, find the perfect piece, but you just know, okay, this is going to come into my life, but it's going to come into my life on my terms and on my budget. Maybe don't expect to find the perfect Chanel handbag at your local thrift store for $20. Like, we can have a little bit more of a realistic expectation than that, but we also don't have to be constantly buying things at their full price when the secondhand market is often really, really flooded with the exact item that we're looking for, just heavily discounted. I think taking into account the resale value of things that you're buying is also a very intelligent thing to do, because there will be a lot of losses as you experiment, as you shop, and as you figure out what your style is and what your wardrobe should be looking like. I do find that reselling is a good option for the experimental phase of your wardrobe, because I think that we all do actually need to go through that trial of fire, that trial of experimentation. Unless you're one of those really, really sure of yourself people who knows her personal style, like there is no experimentation necessary, I know who I am. That's the dream. Like, that's who we all really want to be. I think at the end of the day is like knowing ourselves that surely and that deeply. But I think for most of us, there's a bit of wobbling, there's a bit of wavering, there's a bit of sort of faffing around and like playing with different things while we sort of hone in on our true character and our true personal style. And so lastly, I think it just helps to keep affirming to yourself who you are, what you're worth, and that you can actually be who you are and let your true colors show and wear what you want, really. Like, there's no rules in this world of like, you must wear this, you must not wear that. I think women, we do get marketed to a lot. We do get told most of the time what looks good, what doesn't look good. My philosophy is that it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what size you are. Like, you deserve to wear the clothes that you love and to feel your best in your clothes every single day, no exceptions. Like, it does not matter who you are, you deserve to feel your absolute best in your clothes. That is like my true philosophy. That's the whole underlying thing of my whole channel, and like my own personal style as well, is just like that feeling of self-worth. And I think when we really let our true colors show and when we really show up as ourselves, we also inspire others to show up more as themselves. I mean, we also inspire, our daughters and our nieces, etc., to grow up as strong women, to grow up as confident women, to put themselves first and to give themselves, the treatment that we know they deserve. So like, if we can see that worth and that beauty in another woman, like, why is it so hard to see it in ourselves? And I think clothing can be a big part of that, and a big sort of like tool that we can use to encourage ourselves, to treat ourselves better, to give ourselves more respect, to understand our own self-worth. I think that's really the process of enclothed cognition, and how we can use that to our advantage is that choosing better quality automatically makes us feel like we are worthy and deserving of better quality. Choosing clothes that are for special occasions makes us feel like today is a special occasion. Choosing colors that are making us feel our best, it automatically makes us feel like, oh, I'm feeling good today, I'm feeling fly today. It's improving our confidence. It's improving how we interact with other people. And it's just like such a positive ripple effect, that whole juicy cycle where we're wearing our clothes, we feel our best, and we're inspiring others to wear their clothes and feel their best. I don't see a downside. In some sense, I think our clothes do help to create our persona. They help to shape us into the most confident version of ourselves. They help other people to treat us how we would like to be treated. They help other people to perceive us in the ways that we're trying to be perceived. The most confident version of ourselves, the most warm and approachable version of ourselves, the most playful version of ourselves, whatever aspect of ourselves that we're trying to bring out and highlight today with our clothes, we're allowing people to meet us on that level. We get to choose really in any moment, like how we're perceived and what we're wearing. So choose wisely and allow yourself to shine, allow yourself to be the most beautiful, most confident version of yourself. If you made it all the way to the end, please leave me a little like crown emoji or little queen or princess emoji or something like that so that I know that you are one of the queens. And yes, I will see you very shortly in my next one. Bye.